Joining us now for more on this is Elizabeth Sepper. She's a professor of law at the University of Texas, and with her is Usham Upadhyay. She's a public health scientist and an associate professor at the University of California, San Francisco. Thank you both for joining us. Elizabeth, let me begin with you. Explain to our audience what was at the center of the arguments made yesterday.
At the center was an issue that has very little to do with abortion. It was whether these anti-abortion doctors who filed suit challenging the FDA's rules governing Mifepristone, the main abortion drug, had any injury from the approval of that drug. And the justices expressed a lot of skepticism that these doctors who don't prescribe the drug, who aren't required to dispense abortion pills, faced any concrete injury. Indeed, they seem to find these arguments rather preposterous across both sides of the aisle at the court.
So, Elizabeth, does the line of questioning that we heard yesterday say anything about how the justices are leaning?
Yes, the oral arguments strongly suggested that access to medication abortion will remain the same, at least for now. Again, not for reasons driven by abortion, not because the court is moderating on abortion, but rather because the court is interested in enforcing general rules about access to courts and when plaintiffs can properly sue within the federal system.
So, Ushma, walk us through how this pill works.
Sure. A medication abortion consists of Mifepristone, which causes a pregnancy to stop growing and separate from within the uterus, and then Mifepristone, which causes the uterus to contract and empty. And so the medication is extremely safe, has a safety profile of over 99%. And what the plaintiffs were arguing is that there's sometimes a need for care from an emergency department, and they were arguing that if in the potential case that a person needed emergency care, then they would be injured, but they actually didn't demonstrate any experience of such harm. So the emergency department visits, there are some patients that do end up going to an emergency department, and often this is because they feel alone. They just need some clinical support. They have questions about their side effects and whether the amount of bleeding is normal.
And I actually want to pick up on that point, Ushma, because we have seen the use of this drug rise drastically in the last 20 years. I'm just wondering, though, because a central part of the argument yesterday was, or the questioning yesterday was around whether most people are using this without the help of a doctor or without the guidance of a doctor. I'm just wondering whether that is the case for most people.
Well, I think you're talking about telehealth, and telehealth is a growing way of getting medication, and it involves a consultation with a provider over video like this or over text, secure messaging. And it constitutes about 18% of all abortions in the United States at this time. It is growing. So sometimes people need additional in-person care, and that's why people may need to go to an emergency department just to see a clinician and get that reassurance. But as I said, it is extremely safe. Less than a third of 1% end up having a serious complication.
Interesting.
Elizabeth and Ushma, thank you both very, very much for that clarity and analysis. We appreciate it. Thank you.